write like a man. Use a typewriter.
Well, the snake was a symbol to the ancient Egyptians.
Yeah.
You know, not only one of death and something to fear, but one of power as well. You know, you think of their, and the name escapes me at the moment. There's a name for the serpent when it's placed on the burial mask. And King Tut famously has the serpent on his burial mask.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it was not an uncommon creature for these people to be dealing with. And the story you're talking about of Moses, this is where he contends with Jannes and Jambres, the magicians of the Pharaoh. Now, keep in mind, Moses was raised as the grandson of the Pharaoh and would have been initiated into all the Egyptian magics as a child. So none of this would have been unfamiliar to him.
Yeah.
But Jannes and Jambres, their story continues later on. They are, in one apocryphal tale, said to have breached the gates of heaven using magical talismans.
Really?
And they fight their way through 7 levels of heaven before they encounter Metatron.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And then Metatron is finally one who expels them from heaven by tricking them into taking their talismans off. I always found this fascinating that these guys get a continuation to their story later on.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
You know, snakes were familiar to them.
Yeah.
Why, snakes come up in the Bible, when the Israelites all get snake bites. And Moses makes the brazen snake to hang up on the post, so they look at it and they're healed. Snakes come up again and again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sometimes for good, sometimes for ill.
Well, you look
Most
at the
for ill, but
most
usually.
Yeah. Yeah, it's usually not good.
Yeah.
Well, and you use a medical symbol, with the dual serpents, and
the
that
caduceus.
The caduceus. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Caduceus.
Yeah. There is iconography that, and this is something we often talk to Gary Wayne about too, because he's done so much research into this, but it's such an interesting topic to me. There's iconography that just it reaches back into the depths of history, and it always shows up in one form or another, whether it's a certain kind of star or a certain geometric shape or a certain type of animal. And in all of these mystery cults, there's always this repeated thing, and then it shows up in esoteric societies, mystical societies, Masonic orders, and then institutions, and then you have in your pharmaceutical institutions or governments, companies. Everybody repurposes this imagery all throughout it, even in the modern world, even in the modern Western world. And that's what always triggers, my brain to wonder, it's like a red flag. I look at that and I'm like, why does that company use that symbol? That symbol's from forever ago. What are they doing? What Masonic?
One wonders if it's intentional or accidental at the end of the day.
There's a little bit
dealing
of that.
with knowledge of the symbol,
Yeah,
repurposing or kind of appropriating the symbol for a different purpose. Or is this purely accidental that sometimes these things represent symbols from bygone eras and from different belief systems? I don't know.
Yeah.
What's interesting with the serpent on the staff, Moses erects it, and then when the people look on it, they're healed. And God told him to make that.
Yeah.
And it ends up being the only artifact that later on, when the Israelites continue this pattern of worshiping false gods or whatever, it was the only artifact that they worshipped.
Yeah,
it was the only artifact that wasn't an idol that they made.
Yeah,
it was the only artifact Moses made or was given to them by their leadership. They and he ended up having to destroy it later on. But it kept leading them astray.
Yeah,
through the
just
Bible
like
chain.
anything.
Yeah, that's crazy. The Egyptian imagery overall is really fascinating to me because, going back to Antarctica, there are mountains that are shaped as pyramids.
Right.
There are pyramid mountains, and I looked at some of them. I looked at pictures of them. I looked at renderings of them, and then I looked at them on Google Maps, and I'm like, that can't be natural.
Right.
And they're all around the rim of Antarctica. That is bizarre to me.
Yeah,
that is bizarre. What do you think? I mean,
they're fortresses along the wall.
I don't know. What are some theories that you're aware of around what the pyramids' ultimate purposes were? Yeah,
Well,
that
you
would
know,
be in Antarctica.
there's this belief that Atlantis or some great mother culture, and we just use Atlantis as a placeholder for this mother culture, existed. There's a book I've been reading called The History of Civilization X. It talks about the Jasharites and how they spread across the globe in this great civilization in ancient times. And it's possible for me to believe that colonies of an advanced civilization, of an advanced mother culture, could have populated different areas of the world, bringing representatives of their archaeological, their architectural knowledge with them.
Mhm.
So I think this is the reason we see pyramid structures around the world, whether they be the Bosnian pyramids, the Alaskan pyramids, the Giza pyramids, the Mesoamerican pyramids, or the even aforementioned Antarctic pyramids. I think they all come from the same place. I think there was a great mother culture that built pyramids, that was versed in how to do it, that made them in the past.
Yeah.
Perhaps even before the Egyptians came along, the pyramids were built and were discovered by the Egyptians and repurposed by the Egyptians.
Yeah.
But I think they're all over the planet. I think that they were put there by the same mother culture.